Hi there. My name is Rebecca Weaver. I'm going to be talking about the slope of a line today. So let's get started. We're looking at some graphs. Here's our first graph, and we're going to be looking at the slope of this line. Now, when you read a graph or when you look at a graph, you're going to read it from left to right. So if I was reading this from left to right and I was walking on that line, you might say that I was walking uphill. Slope is defined as rise over run. That means I'm going to be talking about how much I go up or down versus or over how much I go across. And this is going to be talking about the steepness of this line. Formula-wise, we're going to say that this is y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1. We could say that this just means the change in y over the change in x. That little triangle means change in. It's a Greek symbol that we call delta. And we also say delta y over delta x. You might hear someone say that as well. Slope has its own letter. When you see a little m, you need to be thinking slope. So when I'm looking for slope, I like to look at a graph and pick out 2 points. So for my very first point, there he is. Okay, and I think I'm going to go to that point up there at the top. So there are my 2 points. We're told to find the slope of the line. I need 2 points first, so I did that. Slope is going to be rise over run. So what do I need to do next? Well, I need to look at how it rises versus how it runs. So let's look at those arrows there. I'm going to count when I go from the leftmost point to the right point. I go rise, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I would say that the slope is 4 over 5. Specifically, you will see me write it as 4 over 5, and I'll use little m equals 4 over 5 instead of writing the word slope because that would just take me so long. Now, sometimes I want to do this with the formula and I don't want to count. I mean, what if it's a big bunch of numbers or the graph is huge or tiny or something? Either way, sometimes I just want to do it by the formula. So let's do this one by the formula and see that we get the same answer. So our very first point I'm going to say is 0, negative 3. Our second point is 5, 1. I need to label them point 1 and point 2. Doesn't matter which one's which, you just need to name them, point 1, point 2. Because when you go to use the formula, you need the y value from point 2 minus the y value from point 1. That's what that y sub 2 means, minus y sub 1. We say y subscript 2 minus y subscript 1 to shorten it up and to be cool, because it's really cool if you do it this way. Y sub 1 minus y sub 2 all over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Plugging those values in, I put in a 1 for the y value from point 1 minus negative 3, which is the y value from point 1, all over the x value from point 2, which is 5, minus the x value from point 1, which is 0. And then I just crunch those numbers. Be very careful on your negatives here. This slope would be 4 over 5. Now, I'll just give you a hint. If the line is going uphill from left to right, it's going to be a positive slope. So watch your positives and negatives that way and make sure you have the right answer there. So when I look at these next 3 graphs, you can see that the first graph is going to have a positive slope because I'm going uphill. The second graph is also going to have a positive slope because I'm going uphill. The last graph has a negative slope because when I read this graph from left to right, I would be going downhill. So that would be a negative slope. So we are told to find the slope of all of these lines. Oh my goodness. So first up, we're going to need a point. So I look for some points. There's my first point on graph 1, my second point on graph 2. I know that slope is rise over run, so I'm just going to count. I need up 2, run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2 over 5. That's the slope. And then I write this all neat and tidy and just say m equals 2 over 5. I'm going to do the next graph. I need 2 points. There's my first point. You can pick any 2 points. They need to be on a crosshair. And there's another one. So there are my 2 points that I'm selecting. Slope is rise over run. I need to go up. Let's see, up 1, 2, 3. And then I run 1, 2, 3, 4. And the slope is 3 over 4. Writing it the cool way. 3 over 4, m equals. I'm going to look at the last graph. There's 1 point. Looks like that other point's right there at the bottom. I'm going to choose that one. So now I know I need to do slope is rise over run. So I'm going to go from the leftmost point to the right point. And this one I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to go down 4 and run 1, 2, 3. Since the slope is rise over run, I'm going to go down 4, which is negative 4 over 3. I would say that this slope is negative 4 over 3. Now, we can't always do this just by counting, even though it would be nice. Sometimes we need to do it by the formula. So let's confirm that even if we do it by the formula, we get the same answer. So I need to write down both of my points. Point 1 is negative 5, 1. Point 2 is 0, 3. Plugging these values in to my slope formula, I get 3 minus 1 is the y value from point 2 minus the y value from point 1 all over the x value from point 2 minus the x value from point 1. Watch those signs. This slope is 2/5. That's what I got by counting. Let's do the next one with our formula. I need a point 1. That would be 0, negative 1. I need a point 2. That would be 4, 2. Plugging that into my slope formula, I get 2 minus a negative 1. That's going to be 3 all over 4 minus 0. I still get 3/4. I better get 3/4, hadn't I? I better get the same answer no matter which way I do it. Let's get the point from this first graph. That's 0, negative 2. And the second point I have is 3, negative 6. Could have chosen any points on there. Those are the ones I selected. Doesn't matter, your slope is still the same. Plugging that into the slope formula, I get m equals negative 6 minus a negative 2. That makes that a plus, so negative 6 plus 2 is negative 4, all over 3 minus 0. My slope is still negative 4/3. All right, the last thing we're going to look at are horizontal and vertical slopes. What are these slopes going to be? You know, if you were to walk each of these lines from left to right, how steep is the line? You know, how much does it slope? I mean, the first graph over here on the left, he's just a horizontal line. He's not even sloping at all. Now, if I try to walk this line and I'm just trying to walk straight up, that's not going to happen. That's like impossible. That's a crazy slope. So let's see what we do here. Slope is rise over run. I have 2 points. I'm going to walk from one to the other. How much do I go up or down? None. How much do I go across? 3. Well, that's 0 over 3. This slope is 0. Let's confirm this with our formula. I need to select both of those 2 points, write each one down. The first point is 0, 4. The second point is 3, 4. Plugging these into my slope formula, y2 minus y1 all over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Plugging this in, I get 4 minus 4 all over 3 minus 0. That gives me 0 over 3. It's 0. Hey, that's cool. Let's look at this crazy one that I can't walk up. Not without some help from a rope or, I don't know, spikies or something. So slope is rise over run. How much am I rising to get from one point to the other? I'm rising 2, running 0. Oh my goodness, what happens when I have 0 in the denominator? It is undefined. That's where this thing blows up. This is an undefined slope because it's straight up and down. I mean, how steep is it? Like infinite steep. It is straight up and down. So let's do this with our points. First point, 3, 0. Second point, 3, 2. Plug this into our slope formula. y sub 2 minus y sub 1 all over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. M equals 2 minus 0 all over 3 minus 3. What happens? 2 over 0, undefined. Slope is really important. In mathematics, you will talk about slope in every single math class over and over from here on out till you stop taking math classes. You're going to be talking about slope. Be sure you understand all the nuances of slope. Be sure you're getting your signs right. And if you're having any trouble, be sure and email me. Y'all have a wonderful day.